Welcome to our third podcast on The Time is Near. In this third podcast, I want to share with you some key thoughts on the famous 77's prophecy in Daniel 9:24-27. This is a key passage in most end-time theology, but it is ambiguous, leading to many different interpretations. When this word was received, Babylon had just fallen to Cyrus, king of Persia, and it was 538 BC. And Daniel realized that 67 years had passed since Jeremiah's prophecy of 70 years of desolation for Jerusalem. We looked at Jeremiah's words in the previous podcast, and then Daniel engages in a desperate prayer to God, to which God gave an extraordinary answer. Let us now look at God's answer. It's there on the TV screen. Daniel 9:21-23. While I was speaking in prayer, the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the first, came to me in swift flight at the time of the evening sacrifice. He made me understand, speaking with me and saying, "O Daniel, I have now come out to give you insight and understanding. At the beginning of your pleas for mercy, a word went out, and I have come to tell it to you, for you are greatly loved. Therefore consider the word and understand the vision." Let's have a look at what Gabriel said. Daniel 9:24. 70 weeks are decreed about your people and your holy city, to finish the transgression, to put an end to sin, and to atone for iniquity, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal both vision and prophet, and to anoint a most holy place. Clearly, God is saying he will respond to Daniel's prayer and deal with Israel's sin and restore the people, the city, and the worship. The next verses show how. Know therefore and understand that from the going out of the word to restore and rebuild Jerusalem, to the coming of an anointed one, a prince, there shall be 7 weeks. And then for 62 weeks it shall begin again completely, but in a troubled time. And then it goes on, the prophecy goes on. And after the 62 weeks, an anointed one shall be cut off and shall have nothing. And the people of the prince who is to come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. Its end shall come with a flood, and to the end there shall be war. Desolations are decreed. Verse 27. And he shall make a strong covenant with many for 1 week, and for half of the week he shall put an end to sacrifice and offering. And on the wing of abominations shall come one who makes desolate, until the decreed end is poured out on the desolator. I say to you that if we apply sound interpretive principles, it is impossible for this passage to serve as a key passage in end times theology. Why? Because the ambiguities in the Hebrew text mean we cannot resolve the uncertainties in meaning with confidence. As a result, if we apply sound hermeneutics, 90% of the existing end-time theologies are significantly in doubt, and many must be in error because they contradict each other. In my opinion, a vast amount of end-time teaching has been a waste of time. A clue to resolving the ambiguity is the standout phrase in Daniel 9:27, the abominations that cause desolation. It is plural because it has, and this is my understanding, 3 historical fulfilments, which are all described in the book of Daniel. All discussions I have seen assume there is only one fulfillment, and the resultant ambiguity will inevitably cause confusion. The ambiguity is intentional. This is why we have so much trouble interpreting the prophecy. In reality, it reveals 3 occasions in history when Israelites living in the promised land will be severely threatened with annihilation. These will fail, and ultimately God will achieve his purpose. Here I put on the screen the 3 abominations of desolation that we find in the book of Daniel. The first one is when Antiochus IV, the Seleucid northern king, sought to Hellenize the Jews in the promised land in 171 to 164 BC, which is described in Daniel 11:21 to 35, and also in the extra biblical book of the Maccabees. The second abomination of desolation comes about when the Roman Empire caused the Jews to stop the daily sacrifice, then scattered and totally broken, and eventually the Muslims captured Jerusalem and constructed the Dome of the Rock on the Temple Mount from 687 to 691 BC. This is described in Daniel 12:1 to 11. And the third abomination of desolation is when the final invasion of Jerusalem will occur, led by the Antichrist, as described in Daniel 8 and a number of verses there. It's also described in other portions of the Bible, in Ezekiel 38 to 39. And it was described by Jesus in Matthew 24 and Mark 13. And the final battle is described in multiple passages in the book of Revelation. Here's a diagram that kind of summarizes that, and you can see the 3 red stars. They are the 3 abominations of desolation which I described to you. And if you look at the book of Daniel, first part, history, then prophecy, and we see the different empires that are described in the book of Daniel, and Babylon, Persia, and Greece, and Rome, and then the final one, the Islamic kingdom. So the 70 weeks prophecy was never intended to be a prophecy predicting Jesus' first coming. The anointed prince in Daniel 9:25 is not the Messiah as interpreted in the King James Version and some later translations. The Hebrew text refers to anointed ruler who is probably Zerubbabel or Cyrus. In the next 2 podcasts, we will examine the problems in interpreting this prophecy and evaluate the major interpretations that have been applied. Thank you. Until the next podcast.